Soccer Saturday. It's me, Geordie Pete Redding. It's the Football App, the #1 football community in the world. It's him, Super Kevin Campbell. By the way, what a week for George, our George. His son graduated. He had his 21st birthday. And England are in a final. Afternoon, boys. How are we?
Doing great.
How was your week, George, first and foremost?
Long week. Great week. Busy week. I'm glad it's the weekend.
And more football. More importantly, a major final.
Oh, my God. I'm still nervous.
Are you nervous?
I'm nervous as hell. I still can't believe it, to be honest. But, yeah, nervous as hell.
Well, congratulations, George. Anyway, congratulations on the graduation and everything for your family.
Thank you so much.
Pete, my week has been like a roller coaster. It's been brilliant, though.
Yeah.
I've had Mama Campbell up, my
Yes.
sister up, and my 2 nephews up.
Brilliant.
And I tell you what, Manchester ain't the same anymore. After that lot been up, I'm telling you, the Brick South Londoners have been up, mate. I'll tell you what. No, it's been brilliant.
I've had my fill of Brixton this week. We had Angie Brown on.
Angie Brown, love it.
Oh wow! I mean, she was so popular. A massive thanks to Angie for being on the show. It was just absolutely amazing. What a musical legend, Kev.
Oh, absolute legend. Brixton legend, musical legend, known around the globe for some absolute great songs. So brilliant.
But
Brilliant
I
to see
never
her
knew.
on.
I never knew she worked Rolling Stones.
Mm.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. She's one of Brixton's finest, honestly. You know,
she was.
Brixton, listen, Brixton is such a hub to create great artists at all levels. And she's one of the best. One of the best.
She was one of the best that we've had on the show. She gave her absolute all. And Kev, we got a little bit of music from her as well. She sang, "I'm gonna get you, baby." She loves singing, so you can't stop her. Is that a Brixton thing?
Well, music is in the blood, Pete, especially in Brixton. You know, growing up inner cities, South London, big Caribbean community there. So music is part of life. And Angie, obviously, is one of those lovely women who's come through, and she's got the soulful voice in her. It's inbuilt. So, God forbid anybody tried to stop her singing.
No, I just sat back and went, go on, host the show. Basically, it was Angie Brown on Hollywood Balls.
Yeah, listen, that wonderful Brixton community produces just some beautiful artists, man. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know what the dynamic is. But it's just beautiful. Angie is one of many. She's one of the most famous ones, clearly. But I don't know if you've ever spent time in Brixton. I have on a few occasions. You can just feel the talent there. It's just incredible. It's beautiful, wonderful stuff.
She sat on the settee, Kev, and sang that, and and the big man, Big T, said, "How can you sit on the settee and just bang out a tune like that?" It was incredible for the viewers. Listen,
effortless. It's effortless.
It was effortless.
Can you imagine having such talent? How wonderful is that, right?
Yeah,
beautiful.
Absolutely amazing. There's a bit of a game on Sunday, isn't there?
Oh boy. I can't do it.
George, don't be nervous.
Stop, George. Come on, George.
Don't be nervous.
Super Kev, you're not nervous?
No, not at all.
No.
Not at all. And do you know what? And this is the funny thing, George. Anytime I played, I was never nervous because I put the work in.
Yeah.
I knew what I needed to do. Hey, not every time it came off, let's be honest, because it can't. That's the way it goes. Yeah. But you prepare, you put the work in. Just like the football app, you put the work in. Yeah. It's not always going to work out how you expect it, but you put the work in for it to work. The England team hasn't let us down. They've put the work in. They had a bit of adversity against Denmark. They came through it. I trust them now. I trust them.
Well,
they might not win, but I trust them.
Yeah, I don't disagree with any of that. this game is easier to deal with if you're a player. If you're a fan,
it's a very good point.
Because as a player, you feel you can impact it, you can contribute, you're confident. You know, England are on a roll. As a fan, do you know? My late father was at Wembley in 1966.
Wow.
He paid. I didn't know this. My mum told me 2 days ago. She said to me, "What are you smoking? What do you mean you don't know?" He paid £100 for a ticket.
Wow.
In
Back
1966, and he paid another £100 for a friend of his who couldn't afford it.
Wow.
In 1966,
Amazing.
right? So that's like more than a half a century ago, and you're telling me not to be nervous? I mean, I think every England fan is excited, but there is nervousness. I'm so superstitious. I'm not, you know, if the boys go 1-0 up, I'm not going to move 1 inch. I do that all the time, you know. Yeah,
It's,
I can't wait.
do you know what?
Good.
Funny, Kev. We had a series. Who Are You? Remember, on our first series of Hollywood Balls.
Yeah.
And what George says is what I asked you. It's a completely different dynamic for a player to a fan, because the fan can shout and scream and do it, but you do feel a little bit helpless if it's not going well.
Pete, I'm a fan now, remember?
Yeah, I know.
Although I know what it feels like to be in that position, I'm a fan now. And you know what? Excited, buzzing, looking forward to it. I feel all of that.
Okay. Mr. Positivity.
But don't forget, the majority of people who are watching live every second of it, because England haven't been in this position, or they haven't been in this position with England since 66, since George mentioned his dad paid 200 quid for him and his friend to go in. So I totally understand the nervousness. I've got a friend who he can't sleep. He doesn't know what to do. He said today's the worst day, because does he go out and have a few drinks, or what does he do? He's not sure what to do today, you know. Funny.
But what I will say though, it's, you know, can you imagine if you're not an Italian fan or you're not an England fan, you will enjoy tomorrow's game. It's a spectacle.
Yeah.
It's a dream.
Great game for the neutral.
Yeah, it's beautiful. But we have a dog in the fight, clearly, right? So come on, boys.
I'm just picking my stats up, because it's Italy's 10th major tournament, by the way. Don't want to worry any English fans. 6 World Cups, 4 European championships, which is amazing. Only Germany have played in more, which is 14. So I've got a question for Kev. We've talked about Gareth Southgate, and he has been brilliant, and we've had this conversation, you and I, for our members show, by the way, which is going out tomorrow. Our new subscribers, me and Kev have a new show which goes out for our new members, and thank you for subscribing. It's been brilliant. But is it the midfield battle, Kev, tomorrow?
I think there's going to be battles all over the pitch. But one thing I will say, I think it's going to be the key areas, not only the midfield. The key areas for me is Italy's attack and England's attack.
Okay.
That's the key. We've got to get
just
the better
throw
of
these
the
notes away. Then they're all
throw them away, Pete. Because you know what, the midfield battle, that will only get you to a certain point. It's the top end of the pitch what's going to make the difference. If England could undo Bonucci and Chiellini and that back four, England will win the game.
Yeah.
If Italy outdo us, they're going to win the game. It's going to be that simple, because defenses might be on top for long spells, but someone's going to have to come up with something a little bit out of the ordinary. Yeah. And I believe England have the firepower off the bench to really change things up more than Italy.
Yeah,
okay, George.
I agree with that. I was, as you know, Pete, Italy was my team of the tournament from the beginning.
Day one.
But I will say I was.
And I'll blame you if they win it, by the way. You know that.
But listen, I was so encouraged by the semi-final against Spain, because Spain had so many opportunities, so many chances. That gives me incredible excitement and confidence, frankly, that England, you know, if Spain, who played very well, who I thought were very unlucky to lose that game in the semi-final, you know, if England have a third of those chances, the boys will score. And I think, I agree with Kevin, both defences generally are very good, although, like I say, in that game against Spain, Spain tore them open many times. I reckon if someone gets the first goal, that's going to be the winner, I think. That's going to be the winner.
I totally agree. George, I've said...
well, George is giving his
predictions.
He's giving his prediction away already.
No, I haven't. I said whoever scores first will win. I haven't given my prediction.
Okay.
George, listen, one goal in it and whoever scores first wins is your prediction.
Yeah, that's correct. But you don't know what I've got down here.
Listen.
He's got 6-5.
I could tell you who you think's going to win. Let me tell you, because you've just given it away.
Kev, there's an old phrase from a very famous English winger. It's something I've looked at, and it may be where is key for England. Get round the back, because they're a little bit static at the back, just slightly. I mean, they're very well organised. We know that. That's where your boy Saka comes in, surely.
Well, look, Saka has been a revelation for someone so young, 19 years old.
Amazing.
Really, he was really unfancied coming in. People weren't sure whether he's even going to make the squad. But the fact of the matter is, he's impressed. I mean, I think his first 5 England games, he was man of the match for free at 19. I mean, I think Wayne Rooney or someone was probably the only one who could probably challenge that. But the fact of the matter is, and I'm going to say this again, Pete, because it's your old mate, the manager, who you absolutely battered before. He keeps getting it right.
George was with me.
No, I listen.
You were. You were with me.
No, listen. I'm completely honest. I was not a big Southgate fan, but you got to say, he's won me over. And he's won over.
Won the nation over.
Else. Yeah,
totally.
And if I just finish my point, he's made key decisions about who to play, when to play them,
the right time,
and leaving people on the bench. If you know, even Raheem Sterling, who I think has been sensational.
Yeah.
People were saying he shouldn't even be starting.
Yeah.
So Gareth
Southgate,
well, Gareth Southgate took it upon himself. If it's going to go pear-shaped, it's going to go pear-shaped on my decisions, not the swell of the nation. And he's got it right. And there's one more game to go. Listen, if he can make sure the boys get across the line in any way, shape, or form, what an unbelievable management duo! What an unbelievable management job!
Yeah,
and credit goes to him and his backroom staff, because he's got a really good backroom staff.
He's got Steve Round in there, hasn't he, Kev?
Steve Round, you got Chris Powell, you got some really wise heads behind there who know football. And there's even people further back who I don't even want to mention, who we all will know when I mention it when we get off air, who were doing all tactical analysis and all that type on teams. And they've got it right so far. Yeah, they're in the final. So one more job, boys.
Yeah, listen, I'll give you an example. If it was Pep Guardiola that picked the formation against Germany, everybody said, what a masterclass, Guardiola, right? Southgate made a very brave decision for that Germany game. And he was vindicated. That was a masterclass. Yeah. I still don't think he gets enough credit for that, right? If it was Guardiola, a Mourinho, everyone would say, what a masterclass, right? So he's a man of his own convictions. He doesn't listen. He's strong enough to have faith in his convictions, in his teams, in his management team's convictions. He's won me over. The man's class. Well played.
Alia, love your comment. It's coming home or going to Rome. Comment of the day so far. Brilliant. Kev, there's one thing though I do want to mention the midfield, and I think it's a unique dynamic that could really help us. Jordan Henderson, because he's made a big difference. If there's a place for him, but then someone was saying to me today, if Jordan plays, they may have to forego a more attacking player. But do you stick Jordan in there?
No, you don't. I think the key. Look, Rice and Phillips have been great as far as I'm concerned. They're young. They got good energy, and that's one thing. The Italians, they play a pressing game. Okay. Their pressing game is very good for 70 minutes. We saw Denmark press for 60, 65 minutes. But one thing about that pressing game, you run out of steam. If the opposition are good at keeping the ball, you run out of steam. I think the later it gets on into the game, then you bring on the experience. You take a Phillips off and you bring the experience of Henderson on. Because what Henderson could then do, he's energetic. He could impose his style on the game, and he also, Pete, can come up with key goals. He's not susceptible to getting in the box and scoring as well. So, he's got his first goal for England in Rome, in Italy, didn't he? And I just think what an opportunity to make key substitutions Gareth Southgate's got at his disposal. He's got some brilliant players to come on, Pete, and I think that's going to be the key for this game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, I agree. You have to start with Rice and Phillips. They've been there the whole tournament. It's solid. Everybody knows how they play and how they interact with each other. Not just the two of them, the whole team. I think it's a risk not to start with those two now. I think they will, and I think England has so much firepower both on and off the bench. It's exciting times. I will say this. Sometimes you just think fate is on your side. Spinazzola doing his Achilles heel, right? Doing his Achilles. I feel so bad for him. The man, to me, he was the player of the tournament, right? I feel so bad for him personally. I feel bad for Italy because he's their top player. But sometimes fate is on your side, right? And I think, I fancy the boys.
George has put it. There it is. We can stop the show now, Kevin.
Yeah, stop it. I'm with you, George. I'm right with you, George. I'm right with you. Full house.
Listen, it's got to be 5 o'clock somewhere in the world, right? I need a gin and tonic.
George has been so nervous all week. It's absolutely fantastic. Whatever it is, it's a major final since 1966 for England. It's great for the country. I wish Boris Johnson hadn't worn that top over his shirt, though. He looked a bit daft. But you've got home advantage as well, haven't you, Kev? Pete, and the fans are back in.
Pete, listen, if ever there's a time to do it, it's this. This is the time.
Yeah.
And we saw some nervousness in the semi-final from Pickford at times, and we didn't start quite well. And let's be honest, Denmark had nothing to lose; they had everything to gain, and they scared us a bit in that first half, scoring the goal and the way they broke on us. They had a couple of chances. That will stand us in good stead for the final now.
Yeah. Players
know exactly how it's going to feel. It's the final. This is the glory game. Yeah. Win this and you are football legends for life. Yeah. This is, shackles come off. Just go and win it.
Yeah.
Full house. Obviously, you're going to have your section of Italians, which will make for a good banter. But a full Wembley with England playing in a final. Well, it's the stuff you dream about, Pete. You dream of having this scenario, and it's there for England to win it. I just can't wait.
Yeah, listen, England had most of the games at Wembley. That's fate, right? They've only conceded one goal. Fantastic. There's momentum. There's belief. The game is about glory. Tomorrow is the glory day, right? They have to capitalize on it. They have to make a marker for England. And if the boys win tomorrow, you're going to see England become a true superpower again at the national level. And they deserve it. They deserve it.
And Kevin will be Sir Gareth Southgate, I believe, from the news.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt. Listen, the Queen will be shining the sword. I'm telling you. Yeah. Gareth will have to do his bow. He has to get down, and she has to do the top. Listen, he'd be a national treasure, Pete. Yeah. And you know what would be quite ironic? After, obviously, he missed the penalty in the semi-final.
Yeah.
To come back and have the conviction to lead the team. If they win, obviously, we want them to win it then. What a fantastic story that is.
Yeah. And he was so, I thought he touched so many people's hearts when he spoke about the penalty miss, that he didn't do it for David Seaman. You know, the man is a wonderful man. You can tell.
Class act.
He's a wonderful man. He's a class act. He's a humble man. And I like that very much. And I think he's a prince amongst gentlemen, and I think he'll get recognised whatever happens now. I just hope we win, and he will be Sir Gareth South. Jesus, he could become the king, I reckon. George,
I tell you something. I think something you mentioned before. England win this. The squad is young enough to kick on.
That's what I'm telling you.
Big time, to be feared. You know what I mean? To be feared.
Kev, you lived this with me throughout the years, where England, you got to call it the way it is. England was an absolute failure at the national level. Yeah. We tried different managers, different approaches, different grassroots programs. Now England they've got it right almost. The win tomorrow is critical. The boys win tomorrow, and then the England national team can become a dynasty. I really believe that. And I think that's a good thing, because every country has that cycle. The Italians have had that, the French have had that, the Spanish have had that. Now it's England's time. The boys have to win tomorrow.
Funnily enough, Kev, you mentioned that, and it's really important to say. I was speaking to John Richardson. Rico was on our show a couple of weeks back. A fantastic journalist. He said, yeah, we all obviously want them to win the Euros, but let's just have a little look ahead to what's happening in Qatar in about 24 months' time. That team is going to be immense, isn't it?
Well, here's the thing: what winning does for you, Pete.
Yeah.
What winning does for you.
I wouldn't know about that.
Well, I know you don't know as a Toon fan, but you have won promotion a few times, and you've had a team that should have won the Premier League.
Yeah.
Because
the entertainers.
And this is the thing, you see, Pete. If the entertainers would have won,
they would have kicked on.
They would have kicked on. England, with these young players, all of a sudden, you know how to win. Once you know how to win, you don't want it to stop. Gareth Southgate then can start going to the World Cup campaign knowing he's got the staff, he's got the players, we're winners, we've done it before, I trust you. And there might be a couple of changes here and there with a loss of form or injuries, but when you join in that group, you get that feeling of being a winner. And when you're a winner, it's so hard to lose.
And listen, let's give you a good example of that, right? I couldn't agree more. Look at Belgium. They were a top-seeded country for many years, beautiful players. They haven't won much, right? Now, the back four are aging. Some other players are aging. So it looks like they're going to lose their momentum.
Miss out. Yeah.
Right? They've missed out. And a team of that talent should not have missed out. Now, you look at England. There's momentum. There's confidence. There's self-belief. Most players are so young. You win tomorrow, and it doesn't matter. Southgate can pick any level almost, and they will continue to win. You win once, you smell it, you live it, you expect it, right? And you get more of it, you know? I couldn't agree with you more, Kev. I agree.
Last shout out before I come on to Baller of the Week. It's a great point from Stefanos. Luke Shaw, Kev, what a tournament. There's so many players to pick, but for me, Saka, I've mentioned. Phillips from Leeds has been brilliant. But Luke Shaw's been amazing, hasn't he?
Pete, and remember the first game he didn't even play.
Yeah.
He wasn't even involved. But this is where you got to give Southgate some credit. You know, he went with Trippier.
Yep.
Trippier's had a great season at Atletico. So he's trying to involve a lot of players in that dynamic. But Luke Shaw has made that left back spot his own, because I think he's been absolutely brilliant. His distribution and his crossing he's picking people out. And if you could pick people out in the box, you have a great chance. If he could stick one on Harry Kane's head in the center of the goal, Harry Kane scores on Sunday.
Yeah, he does.
He scores tomorrow. But, you know, the timing of his runs as well with Sterling, you know, they're opposite sides of Manchester, but they are clicking together. It's great. Absolutely brilliant.
Listen, it's a beautiful thing. And I think one of the beautiful things about the England team that's led by Southgate and the captain, Harry Kane, they lead by example. They're so dignified. They're class acts.
Humble, aren't they?
Whenever they know it's for the fans, and you can see it in them, right? I saw an interview with Harry Kane last night on Sky Sports. Just pure class. And I'm not picking just on Harry because he's a Spurs player, but he's the captain. Leads by example, and you hear it from the players on and off the pitch. He's an absolute role model. That's the kind of thing you want. That's what Southgate is like. He spreads that across the whole team. It's a wonderful time to be an England fan. It's a wonderful time for English football. Come on, boys!
So it's a wonderful time to bring it in for Baller of the Week, and I'm going with Kev first.
Well, this is going to be not your norm.
Okay.
I'm going for someone a little bit different, and I'm going for Jack Grealish.
Okay.
The reason being, you know, sometimes you look at Jack Grealish as a player and you think, you know, might be a little bit selfish because he hogs the ball a lot and stuff like that. But Gareth Southgate had a really difficult decision to make in the semi-final.
Yeah.
In the second half of extra time, where he took Jack Grealish off.
Back off after coming on.
He brought him on in the second half of the game for Saka. And then he took him off in the second half of extra time. And he was trying to explain to Jack Grealish why he took him off. And Jack Grealish said, boss, you don't need to explain anything to me. This is for the team. That, for me, sums up the whole squad.
Can I ask you, Kev? Sorry, just to interrupt. But as a player, if that had been you, because it's not great. I mean, you must, if he can get that dynamic to understand it's for the team, that's brilliant. Because personally, you don't want to come back off, especially when you come on as a sub, do you?
No, of course you don't. But the key is, Pete, if you could have a group of men who are dialed in for the greater good of the team, this is where you win. And that's what made me think, you know what? You're going to be my Baller of the Week this weekend, Jack Grealish.
Brilliant.
Because you've proved the dynamic works.
So let me just ask, Pete, you asked if that was Kev.
Yeah.
Kev is a stand-up guy. He's a prince amongst men. He's a team player.
100%.
Super Kev would have been 100% happy with it, just like Jack Grealish was, right?
100%.
The England team is made of people like Super Kev. It's a beautiful thing.
What I was saying, though, George, was that Gareth Southgate has created that. Yeah. But sometimes at club level, that's not the case. You see the people flouncing off and the kicking the water bottles. And I had a conversation with Lee Clark about it last night, and he said that exactly what Kev said. They're dialed in. They are literally all one squad.
That's right. One of the hardest things to do, particularly at club level, it's easier at the national team level, is, you know, you want your players to have a certain level of arrogance, a certain level of ego, right? When they get on the pitch, I'm going to make this happen for my club, right?
I'm better than him. Yeah, I'm better than them. Yeah.
You need that certain level of ego. And it's a very fine line. Sometimes that ego could be a little bit too much. And we've seen that in certain players, and they bring down the team. So the margin of error is very small. I think that's an easier dynamic to manage at a national team level than it is at a club level, right?
Pete,
I will tell you, a football manager, it has got to be the hardest job in the world. My God, right?
Pete, if you remember, Thomas Tuchel done that with a Chelsea player, didn't he?
Yeah.
One of the young lads. He took him off.
Odoi.
Hudson-Odoi. He brought him on and then took him off. But I think he'd done it to prove a point to everybody. And what happened after that? Everybody was dialed in. And they ended up winning the Champions League, Pete. So sometimes these things have to happen to absolutely get people on board, on side. And you're right, George. At international level, you got the best players. Obviously, everyone's there for one common goal. At club level, there's superstars and there's there's all different type of characters. The best managers get players dialed in, no matter what level you're at.
Yeah.
Got to give a big. Go on.
My baller of the week. My ball of the week. I have cheated. I couldn't do it. So I've gone for 4 S's. I haven't given a ball of the week to England yet. I'm giving it to 4 people. I'm giving it Southgate, Sterling, Shaw, and Saka. All for very different reasons, right?
Yeah.
I could choose one. I'm not. Shaw, he's proven a lot of people wrong, especially Jose Mourinho. Well played. Saka, 19-year-old kid. My God. Revelation.
Special.
Yeah. Sterling.
Fearless.
Did you see that run in extra time against Denmark? Where do you get that energy from? It's not just about the ability, it's that
desire.
Yeah. It's that desire. And Southgate, obviously. So I'm sorry, I've broken all the rules. I've gone for 4 S's, all England. That's my
SSSSS. I like that Paul of the week.
They're my ballers of the week.
I want to give a quick shout out to the one and only Victor Johnson, who's watching the show. Comes from a very famous musical family and a friend of our family. So, Victor, thanks for tuning in. Great to hear from you. And thanks for the message. We are coming into the time, Kev, where we've all been nice and polite and it's been going really well.
Yeah, let's get rid of all that niceties.
Let's get that out, as Kev says.
Yeah.
I'm picking it up from last week. I've got the results. I drew with you, Kev. You didn't beat me. I drew with you.
I'll tell you what, I'm losing my touch here. You know what it is, Pete? Pete, do you know what it is? It must be internationals. It's the international because during the season, you're nowhere to be seen. All of a sudden, you're neck and neck with me. God, I'm losing my touch.
You are. And Barry, listen, he sent this in. You're going to love this guy. George, you're going to love this. Barry sent this in to celebrate him winning.
He won it. I know he won it. Yeah,
he won it easy as well, by the way. So there's Barry.
Look at Barry, top of the pile. Look at him.
Absolutely brilliant.
Barry, you're lucky boy. You're on the pitch, son.
Absolutely brilliant. So Barry got 5. George, you weren't far away with your 2 points, and me and Kev both got 3. So undefeated so far. I'm not happy.
Who's undefeated?
Me. You haven't beat me yet. So anyway, listen.
Sorry. Oh, you mean George hasn't beat you? Okay, fair enough.
No. You.
I beat you last week.
No. These points
remember,
are carrying on.
Boy, I'm the champion, remember? Don't stop, Jordy, please. I'm the gaffer around here.
Listen, we're going to get into that because there's only a couple of games this weekend, but
2 big ones.
We've had 2 massive games, but we've had so much love from our Australian Stato, and I know George loves him as well. He's been an absolute star, hasn't he, George? He literally pulls this stuff from I don't know where. Yeah. Here's a little bit from Geordie Dave.
Hello there, it's Geordie Stato, Dave Huggan here from Sydney, Australia, and I hope you're all well. Here's the stat of the day. Well, in 2021, we had an unusual stat. So, the English FA Cup final finished 1-0. The English League Cup final finished 1-0. The Scottish FA Cup final finished 1-0. And the Scottish League Cup final finished 1-0. And that's the first time that's ever happened. To make matters worse, the Champions League was also 1-0. And that also is the first time that that's happened. So that's really a bad run of games. And actually, after we've had quite a few exciting ones for all of those recently. So 1-0 all the way. The Europa League didn't help very much either with a 1-1 draw. Let's hope the Europa 2020 final is more exciting than that. Back to Pete.
He's just got...
Wow.
You know, Kev, I'll say George says his wife complains, but Dave's wife would just be like, what does he do? He's got football stats all over.
Maybe the tablecloth's full of stats. He's reading them on the tablecloth. That's unbelievable. Honestly, that's incredible.
Yeah,
he's incredible.
He's
so I wonder
fantastic.
what it's going to be tomorrow, George.
Yep, which brings us in nicely. Kev's just led us right in there. He's just literally put it across the 6-yard box.
Set it up.
Let's go then. It's the final. So, George, we'll go with you first. Score predictions. England, Italy.
England 2, Italy 1.
Okay. Kev?
I'm going 1-0 England.
Okay, this is where I get battered. Am I allowed to do hard against
excuses. Just say it. I know where you're going, Geordie Pete. Just say it.
I think Italy will win 1-0. It'll be a hard-fought game, but I do think that they will win 1-0. Said that to all my pals. That's that one done. Argentina, Brazil. What a massive game that is in Copa. Massive.
Incredible.
You must be looking forward to that, George.
Yeah, I'm trying to work out. It's
4. I think it's 4 a.m. and
my local
4 a.m.
Yeah. I'm trying to work out if I can watch it live. Yeah, I mean, whenever you hear a game and it's Brazil versus Argentina, that's a game for the god. That's a game for the gods. Yeah. It's going to be a tight game. I'm actually going to give it to Argentina. I think I love Brazil. I just want Argentina to win something, like with Messi there. I think it's going to be a close game. It's going to be 2-1 after extra time to Brazil. To Argentina, excuse me.
Super Kev, what we got?
What did George just say? 2-1?
2-1 to Argentina.
2-1 Argentina.
He's just making a note of it, George.
I'm just writing it down to make sure. I think it's good. That's
for the audit.
I think that score's going to be reversed. I think Brazil will win the game 2-1. I know it's might be Messi's last Copa America, and listen, I could get it terribly wrong. My international results ain't good if Geordie Pete's drawing with me. So Argentina 1, Brazil 2.
Funnily enough, I've got Brazil 1, Argentina 0. Kev, I think the same as you. There's just some hoodoo over Messi and winning at that final thing for Argentina.
And is it in Brazil, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I go for Brazil.
So Kev and I are both going Brazilian this weekend. There you go. There's an exclusive. Absolutely fantastic. Last code coming up now. Guys, what are you up to for the rest of the week?
Are we not doing Spain, Denmark?
No.
Okay.
But you can. Go on.
No. It's okay.
It's a nothing game. It's a nothing
game, George.
It's a nothing game. We're usually in that, George. So let's forget that. We're usually in that third and fourth place. No one wants to play it.
The wooden spoon. No one wants that.
I do think we should recognise Denmark. That they went through
absolutely
in the Biel, Christian Eriksen. I thought they were unlucky against England. I don't think it was a penalty. I don't care, but it wasn't a penalty. They were out on their feet, Denmark. I think they did their country very proud. They were great.
And they were playing. I mean, they done well to even make it there.
Yeah.
They were playing for Christian Eriksen as well, wasn't they?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And they've done their country so proud.
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
really have.
Yeah. Wonderful job. Wonderful.
I've got one last question for you both, and it's a good one. You've watched the Euros. We're literally at the end of it. You're the manager of your favourite team. So Super Kev, you're Everton, Arsenal. George, your Spurs, your beloved Spurs. You've got one choice, a transfer of a player from the tournament that goes to your team. Who is it?
Easy answer for me.
Yeah.
I'm a Spurs fan. I'm a Spurs fan. We love glory. I'll take Jack Grealish all day long.
Brilliant. Super Kev.
Yeah, but he's coming to Arsenal. That's the difference. He's coming to Arsenal now. I'll take him to the Gunners. I think Jack
Kev's
Grealish
picking him up.
Superb.
Picking him up.
Kev, there's more chance of you and me growing hair than either of us getting.
Hey, I've got hair, George. I keep it low for choice. I've got hair. Look, I've got hair.
I love Grealish. I'd love him at Spurs. You'd love him at Arsenal too. I think he's top player.
Being totally as George has picked Grealish. I like Grealish anyway. I'm gonna go for. Look, I love Kevin De Bruyne, mate. I just love Kevin De Bruyne, and I think he got let down by that defense. I think he was still a sensational player, but the defense ain't great at Belgium. So I'd love to bring Kevin De Bruyne to Arsenal.
Is he a little bit? Am I being super harsh here? But he's had a lot of injuries in the last 12 months, hasn't he? Is that age-wise or
a lot of football, Pete? It's a lot of football. Yeah. They've played a lot of football. They've had hardly any break. So injuries are part and parcel, mate.
Okay. And not only that, the nature of the injury. For example, in the Champions League final, when he was, it wasn't even a tackle by Rudiger. It was like a body check.
It was assault.
It was assault. I mean, he damaged his eye socket, for God's sakes, right?
Yeah.
I mean, those kind of things. I don't think he even got a yellow card, did he? De Bruyne,
no.
Rudiger for that?
No, he didn't. No.
Yeah.
That's
great player.
That's Chelsea for you.
It's refereeing for you. Kevin De Bruyne is a fantastic player. Any fan would love him in his team.
I'll blame VAR.
Oh, perfect timing, Kev, because, George, I've got the best invitation. So you, myself, and Kevin are going to be guests of former Premier League referee Lee Probert, and he's going to put us through our paces on VAR. He's actually going to give us scenarios, a live VAR scenario. We're going to do it live on Hollywood Balls. So the three of us will be the refs.
Oh my God.
Yeah, how good's that going to be?
That's going to be great. I better study up.
Look at Kev's face.
Have you got anything to blank out the bleeps?
Yeah,
I'll make it a 21 on YouTube.
Yeah. That'll be good.
But this tournament is an example of where the English Premier League can learn many things when it gets to VAR.
Totally.
There have been very few controversies over VAR here. The lines have been a bit thicker. There's common sense applied. And guess what? There hasn't been much controversy. Roll back to last season, the English Premier League, the best Premier League, the best league in the world, and it's ridden with terrible decisions around.
And you and Kev are doing your note every week, rightly so, by the way.
George, you do realise why it was so much problems? Because the Premier League decided we're better than anybody else, so we're going to do VAR different to everybody else. It's ridiculous.
Why does it happen, Kev? I mean, the bureaucracy.
Arrogance. It's arrogance. It's just arrogance of the Premier League. But apparently they're getting into line with Europe now. So fingers crossed.
We'll see how we fare. Because I think it is only fair that we experience what they have to go through. So we're going to be put through our paces just before the start of the Premier League. No pressure on Kev because he played at the top level. So there's no pressure on me and George.
No pressure at all.
But it's going to be great. And I think I'm going to invite Keith Hackett along because I think that would be great to have a referee and legend in the house as well. So that could be a very interesting show, don't you think?
Bring Keith Hackett back to the hierarchy. He'll sort the refereeing out.
Yeah, George, you really wanted that, don't you?
Yeah, listen, he applied. I know this is dangerous. He applied
common sense.
He applied
common sense,
and it was great. Can you imagine? Oh my God, what a surprise! Yeah.
Gentlemen, as always, it's been an absolute pleasure. I don't really want it to end, but we've got to go. And we've got the game tomorrow, so I wish everyone all of the best. Good luck to England. Hope it's coming home. Forza Italia, if that's your blue persuasion. It's been fantastic. Kev, great to see you. George,
good to see you,
brilliant.
Pete. Cheers. Thank you.
And we'll see you next week.
Enjoy, everybody.
Come on, England!